if you come round Frodsham every week, you always see fights. So, what the hell?
I didn't think somebody that was serving the public could do something as cruel and as nasty as he's done.
To protect yourself is one thing, but to still keep hitting your victim while he's still down, then that's completely out of order.
I think we need a by-election now. I think reform should take over.
I think there's a stirring about to have a change, so I'd probably be voting reform, I think.
Last year, then Labour MP Mike Amesbury punched his constituent here. And last week, he was sentenced to 10 weeks in jail. He's not resigning and he's still going to claim his £91,000 MP's salary. So, we've come to his constituency to ask, what do you think your chances would be like in a fight against Mike Amesbury?
Easy.
Easy? You think you could take him?
Yeah.
Do you?
I'm a wimp, so no.
Do you think he should resign?
Yeah. I reckon. Because, like, he's punched someone, and, like, if it's a member of parliament, to be fair, there should be, like, the ones, like, keeping an eye on and, like, handing out, like, all the good deeds and stuff, but nah, he's punched someone, hasn't he, so...
I mean, obviously, yeah, it doesn't look good on him, does it? So
it's going to ruin his reputation.
You don't think Mike Amesbury should resign? Why is that?
He was a good MP. I'm from Runcorn and he was a really good MP. You seen him out and about all the time and he was good for the community. And if you come round Frodsham every week, you always see fights. So, what the hell?
What did you think when you saw that footage of Mike Amesbury punching his constituent?
I thought the first punch might have been okay, but what he did after that was bad.
I mean, he was on the ground and he kept attacking him.
Yeah, he shouldn't have done that.
It's not acceptable. Like, we have a mate who actually works in district taxis who was there on the night and saw, like, on his CCTV cameras and stuff like that. Like, I've seen the videos on the Frodsham Facebook group, and it is stupid, to be fair, punching someone, if he was drunk or not.
I think it was really bad, a very bad example to set to people.
I think what he did was terribly wrong. It was all on camera for everybody to see. I think the punishment is well deserved. If he'd have just hit the man once with whatever, I know it was fueled through, I believe, through alcohol and whatever, but no, the seriousness of the assault, I think he deserves all he gets.
What did you first think when you saw that footage of Mike Amesbury?
To be honest, totally shocked. I didn't think somebody that was serving the public and could do something as cruel and as nasty as he's done.
Concerning the altercation here, to protect yourself is one thing, but to still keep hitting your victim while he's still down, then that's completely out of order. And he does deserve to be locked up and never allowed near a council office again. Someone in that status, like, shouldn't be out brawling on the streets. And if you knock someone to the ground, then you say to him, now, get up and go away. He shouldn't have carried on hitting him.
I think locally he's been a good MP and I think he's worked well in the community. And with regard to what has happened, I think he really deserved the sentence he got, and probably more actually. I think the behaviour that he did, you just could not give any credence to what he did, really.
The Home Secretary said that he should resign. Is that something you agree with?
I think he probably should. I think he's got a custodial sentence. It was a vicious crime, really, and that's not the way a public servant should be acting. So I do think, yes, he should resign.
I think it's disgusting. I think it's disgusting what's happened, and I just don't agree with him accepting it.
I think that's an awful lot of money to take off the public when you've committed a crime and you've got a sentence like that. So, I mean, it's difficult because obviously there's technicalities about legal payments and all that. So, it doesn't seem fair to be taking that off the public.
I think he shouldn't accept that. because there's a lot of people that's struggling for money and a lot of people having a really hard time, and he's in a privileged position. I think it's wrong. It's very wrong, and I think he should resign. And if he doesn't resign, I think he should be forced to resign.
That would trigger a by-election in this constituency, and it would be fought between Labour and Reform. What do you make of that?
I'm not sure, really. I'm not sure that I trust any of them. When you see politicians and people like that behaving like he has, it doesn't really give you much faith in people in that position, really. So I'm not sure, but I just think that it's not right that somebody in his position should be allowed to accept his salary, and that he's even thinking of accepting his salary. I think he should have just resigned and realised that, accepted he'd made a bad mistake and resigned.
I think we need a by-election now. I think Reform should take over.
Why do you think that?
I think they've got better ideas. They're talking more common sense. This government's making a right mess of things. And I think we should look at reform for the future to put this country right.
Do you agree with that?
Totally. Exactly. Totally everything that Derek said. I think we need to have a fresh start again, and I think Reform's going to be the one to do it.
Did you guys vote for Reform or Mike Amesbury at the last general election?
Yeah, Reform.
Reform,
Yeah.
The two parties that are in the front running are Labour and Reform. What do you make of that?
I'm not really into politics, to be fair. I do look into it involving America, because that's kind of funny of how that all goes through, but I don't really pay attention to England that much, really. I seem fine with Boris, to be fair, but that was really for me.
Would you vote if there was a by-election?
Nah, I'm not. I don't really like voting, to be fair.
What about you? Would you vote if there was a by-election?
I'll look into it, but obviously I don't know much about politics myself.
I think it'd be a good competition. Well, I think probably Reform might well win that, and I think the politics of the day probably need a bit of a shake-up, really.
Why do you think Reform would win here?
Well, it's just the sense I have of people being ready for some change, and although, as I said earlier, he's been a good MP, I think there's a stirring about to have a change.
Would you be voting for that change?
I probably would, actually, yes. So I'd probably be voting Reform, I think.
It all depends who it is, but I would vote Reform.
Why is that?
Because Mike Haynes is not Labour candidate.
So you're only voting for Labour here because it was Mike Amesbury?
Yeah, and he did things for the community, which the government's not doing anything for the community, are they?
Do you think that Reform could win in this constituency?
I hope so. But if Mike Amesbury was here, no. That's the truth.
Currently the polls show that the front runners would be Reform. What do you make of a Reform-Labour competition in this constituency?
Disgusting.
For Reform?
Disgusting.
Why is that?
I dislike their politics.
So Labour would still have your vote in that by-election?
That would be an interesting thing to consider.